When traveling India, you're bound to make mistakes because the country is so complex and it can be overwhelming. I've traveled through India since 2015 and now I'm actually based in the country. Having been to the big cities, the beaches, the mountains, and the desert, I've made plenty of mistakes. Don't worry though, I'm going to tell you how to avoid them in this video so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Hello and welcome back to my channel. In case you are new here, make sure to subscribe because I see so many people still typing in the name in the search box, and that is not necessary, my friends. Subscribing is free and it will make your life a lot easier. Also, if you like this video, make sure to put a thumbs up. But without further ado, let's talk about some mistakes you shouldn't make while traveling in India. More and more of my friends from abroad are coming to India for the first time. Giving them all the tips and recommendations about things to do and not to do in India made me think that a video for you might also be very useful. Let's start out with the number one thing that you really shouldn't do while traveling in India: being without an Indian SIM card. Internet here is super cheap. You can get a SIM card immediately at the airport when you land at the big airports. Here in Bangalore, you can get it for sure. In Kochi, Mumbai, Delhi, just ask somebody where you can get an Indian SIM card and it will be arranged, let's say, within less than 15 minutes. A SIM card shouldn't cost you more than between 300 and 1,000 rupees depending on which plan they're offering. One thing that you do have to keep in mind is that you need Indian passport sized pictures, especially if you're coming from Europe like my friends. Those small pictures, they won't take those. Sometimes they also take the pictures themselves, but you cannot count on that because, for instance, here in Bangalore they don't do that, and you cannot get the pictures arranged at the airport. So make sure to bring the Indian sized passport pictures with you. They will come in handy with other things as well. A SIM card will make your life so much easier because you will get access to cheap internet 24/7, which will allow you to, for instance, look up things online, find your way on Google Maps, or if you are in any kind of danger, you can, reach other people and let them know that you need help. Something else that you also shouldn't do while traveling in India is rushing. India is a country that has its own pace and there is literally zero that you can do about it. The sooner you accept that, the sooner your travel in India will be absolutely amazing. So we tried to land, but the plane was all shaky and it was so dark outside. And then we went back up and the pilot said, well, we cannot land in Bangalore, so we're kind of also short on fuel. That's also what he said. You didn't hear that? No, I heard it. I was like, huh, interesting situation. Then we landed. He was packing up his bags and I heard the pilot say, "We're Chennai." Sometimes the pace can be super fast and you have to roll with that. And sometimes the pace is incredibly slow. So to make your life easier and be able to adjust to the pace that India is throwing at your feet at any given moment, I would highly recommend you to not book everything in advance. I would recommend you to book, for instance, your transportation for when you land and also your stay for the first night here. But after that, it's good to have an itinerary, but leave the dates a little bit open because you also need some time to process in between. Actually, I made this mistake with my dad as well. When he was visiting here in October last year for 10 days, I thought I had some rest days in between and they turned out to be like more cleaning up days for the things that were going wrong, and you just need to roll with them. So you need some tentative time for things that will go wrong, and you need time to rest and process all the things that you see around you, because you will see things in India that you have probably not seen anywhere else in the world. Look at this construction going on. What? Seriously, this is so Indian, I think. Jugaad it's called, right? Just make it happen, make it happen. Freaking awesome. However, when it comes down to booking trains, I do have to recommend you to book those in advance. The train tickets are given out 3 months in advance. And the beautiful thing with booking train tickets in advance is that you can cancel them last minute. So if you don't feel like going, you can just cancel them. They will charge you a small cancellation fee of maybe 10%. You can book the train tickets on the IRCTC website, and they actually nowadays also accept international credit cards. Yay, go IRCTC. Okay, I'm out of luck this time because all the tourist quota tickets, sorry for the wind, all the tourist quota tickets for this weekend to Jodhpur are gone. So I will have to buy a Tatkal ticket. And Tatkal ticket is kind of like a last minute ticket, but you can only buy it the day prior and it's like an extra fee. But something else I also see many foreigners missing out on are all the available apps that we have right here. The SIM card that you got when you just arrived in India will make your life a lot easier, because then you can use apps like, for instance, booking.com, or WeGo to book your flights, trains. You can even book buses through Make My Trip, for instance. I personally also love to order food whenever I'm traveling, so you can use Swiggy for that. Uber is available here in India, so you don't have to negotiate with the rickshaws and get ripped off, especially in Delhi. Get that SIM card in the beginning. Make sure to download those apps and your life will be a lot easier. Something that I did run into is that I needed to change my app store on my iPhone to the Indian app store, but you can easily do that in the settings and then you can download all those Indian apps. The following 3 mistakes that people make in India, I feel are very much based on a myth that India is this not developed country, because India is really quite developed. My friend who was here, she visited India 14 years ago. She came here now and she was like, whoa, this is a whole different country than what I visited 14 years ago. And I can vouch for that. India is really quite a modern country. You do need to dress according to a dress code. Especially as a girl, your life is just easier if you are dressed like the local women. But you don't need to dress like a backpacker per se. You can just go to some of the local markets. For instance, here in Bangalore, we have Commercial Street, or you can go to Sarojini Nagar in Delhi and buy some leggings and kurtas. They are super comfortable in the hot weather and you will definitely look a million times more cute in the pictures. I made that mistake when I was visiting India the first time. I looked like an absolute hobo. My Indian friends made so much fun of me, but I just didn't feel comfortable, wearing a little bit more pretty clothes. There's really no need for that. Just buy some local Indian women's clothes and you will feel pretty as well as comfortable while traveling in India. Something else is that people feel they need to stay in the most cheap accommodations that they can find. Let me give you a secret. India is one of the cheapest countries in the world to travel in, but it is still true that you get what you pay for. If you're staying in the cheapest of the cheapest accommodations, you are compromising your safety, but probably also your health, because those are also not the most sanitary places. You can easily find very, very budget-friendly, affordable places on booking.com. And if you really feel the need to negotiate, you can just call them, because hey, you got that SIM card, when you just arrived in India. You don't need to go to that place and then sit there and go to one place and then another place and then see which one is the cheapest. We do everything online here, my friend. Please don't stay in dodgy hotels just to save money, because it might ruin your whole India experience. Pay a little bit more extra, be safe, and be a little bit more comfortable. One mistake that I personally made when I came to India for the first time is being afraid to eat the street foods. I totally understand it when people say, oh, I'm afraid to eat street food in India, because you're afraid it might be unhygienic and you might get sick from the food. Also, sometimes Indian foods are quite intimidating to eat. For instance, the first time when I got pav bhaji, which is kind of like a tomato vegetable curry and bread, I didn't know what to do. So I put the curry on the bread and I ate it like a burger. I don't know. Am I supposed to do that? Because I'm just rolling with this. We shall see. Okay, there we go. Which is not how you eat pav bhaji. However, nowadays I feel there are so many Indian street food videos out there. So before you come to India, make sure to watch those so you can get a little bit more confidence on how to eat those foods. When it comes down to hygiene and you're afraid that you might get sick from the food not being hygienic, but sometimes also people cannot tolerate the spices that they use in a lot of Indian dishes. So you could start out with, easy, light Indian dishes, like for instance, idli or dosa. Dosa is like a big crepe. Sometimes it's filled with a potato curry filling, which is called masala. And idli are these fluffy steamed rice cakes. They are so good and so light. they are really the perfect start of your Indian street food adventure. Also, please do remember that Indians are very, very helpful and curious people. So don't be afraid to ask somebody like, oh, how do you eat this? Because they will be very happy to explain that to you. Oh, in terms of hygiene, always go to the crowded places because they have a high turnover. So the food will always be fresh. The final mistake, which I see so many people making here, and I made that mistake until last year, is not indulging in luxury. There's a wonderful gentleman by the pool offering us sunscreen, and there's also beautiful pure rose water facial mist and some cold wet towels. How nice is that? I definitely discovered over the past year that India is a mad value for money country when it comes down to luxury. 5-star hotels in India have a whole other level of hospitality. They're usually 30% of the price of 5-star hotels in the Western world. Oh my gosh, the best end of your trip in India is literally get pampered. Sometimes you can also treat yourself to a first-class train in India. I haven't done that yet myself, but it is definitely on my bucket list. Luxury in India is mad value for money. Don't miss out on that. I really hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to put a thumbs up, and like I said, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more of my videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
I have to see this.